Hi, I'm John Stevenson, and we're going to be looking at Aaron's rod, Numbers chapters 17 and 18, in our continuing study of the book of Numbers. Numbers chapter 17, verse 1, Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, and get from them a rod, that is just a big stick, for each father's household, 12 rods from all their leaders, according to their father's household. You shall write each name on his rod, and write Aaron's name on the rod for Levi. For there is one rod for the head of each of their father's household. This is going to be a determination of who is the leader, and God's going to show through these rods who is his priest. You shall then deposit them in the tent of meeting in front of the testimony where I meet with you. It will come about that the rod of the man whom I choose will sprout. That is, remember, a rod is a stick, a wooden stick, and one of these sticks is going to grow. It's going to spring to life and become, eventually, I suppose, a tree. And so it's going to sprout. Thus I will lessen from upon myself the grumblings of the sons of Israel who are grumbling against you. In the previous chapter, we've seen the people of Israel grumbling against Moses and Aaron. Who made you guys boss? And God's going to tell them who made Moses and Aaron boss. It's God who did that. Now on the next day, Moses went into the tent of the testimony, and behold, the rod of Aaron for the house of Levi had sprouted, and put forth buds, and produced blossoms, and it bore ripe almonds. So here's the stick, this dead stick that springs to life, and not only does it spring to life, not only does it bud with leaves, but it actually bears fruit. Now remember how the whole Pentateuch started way back in Genesis, where there was a garden, and man was cast out of the garden, and in being cast out of the garden, he was cast out from being able to partake of the tree of life. It became to him as if it were just a stick. He could no longer eat of its fruit. And now the staff of Levi, the staff of Aaron, puts forth buds, and it comes to life, and it bears fruit. It becomes a tree of life. This tree standing before the presence of God, before the Ark of the Covenant. And God says, Behold, I myself have taken your fellow Levites from among the sons of Israel, for they are a gift to you, dedicated to the Lord, to perform for the service of the tent of meeting. But you and your sons, speaking to Aaron, with you shall attend to your priesthood for everything concerning the altar and inside the veil, and you are to perform service. I'm giving you the priesthood as a bestowed service, but the outsider who comes near shall be put to death. So Aaron is permitted, and his sons, his descendants, are permitted to serve within the tabernacle. The Levites certainly they're going to have charge over different aspects of taking apart and putting together the tabernacle, but when the service is underway, they cannot approach. They cannot be the priest. Now, Numbers chapters 10 through 21 then have an outline. We started back in chapter 10 where they had left the Sinai, and there had been complaints on the way about the manna and the food, and God had given them food, but then had brought judgment. And then Miriam had been punished for her speaking against Moses, and there had been that rebellion at Kadesh, where they were told they were going to wander for 40 years in the wilderness. That had been followed by ritual regulations we saw last time, the laws of the offerings. And then there had been the rebellion against Aaron that led up to this section about which we just read, Aaron's rod. And this becomes then the pivotal point of the entire section, because next we're going to see duties and privileges of the priests, of Aaron and his priests. We're going to see that in just a minute. And then there will be ritual regulations again, only this time it will involve a red heifer, a red cow, similar to the offerings that we saw. Again, there will be rebellion, but this time Moses and Aaron themselves will be involved in the rebellion. There will be another, I guess we could call it a punishment. Aaron dies, and it's not that Aaron does something right here, but because of what he had done previously along with Moses, he dies in the wilderness, is not allowed to enter the promised land. Finally, at the end of our section, we're going to see complaints about man and the food, and we'll see judgment with regard to that, and we will come full circle to see the journey ending by Moab. So that's the big picture, but notice Aaron's rod is in the middle, and next we move to the duties and the privileges of the priest. So in Numbers chapter 18, when we get to verse 8, then the Lord spoke to Aaron, Now behold, I myself have given you charge of my offerings, even all the holy gifts of the sons of Israel. I've given to you as a portion, and to your sons as a perpetual allotment. Then the Lord said to Aaron, You shall have no inheritance in their land, nor own any portion among them. The rest of the sons of Israel are each going to get an inheritance. And one portion of land will go to Zebulun, one will go to Judah, and one will go to Benjamin, and to Reuben, and various tribes of Israel. But, verse 21, to the sons of Levi, however, notice, God says, I am your portion and your inheritance among the sons of Israel. To the sons of Levi, behold, I have given all the tithe in Israel for an inheritance, in return for their service which they perform, the service of the tent of meeting. Their service is to the Lord, and they're given a tenth. And then to the priesthood, God says, I am your portion. I am your inheritance. And that's a reminder to us that we have an inheritance as well. Christ is our inheritance. When we trust in him, we are, actually the New Testament says, we are baptized into his body. We are identified with him. We become one with him, so that who and what he is, we share in that. And we have been united with Christ, so that we live in him, and he indeed is our inheritance, the very sustenance of our being.